what's up everybody? Welcome back to our channel. Hey, if you're new here, please click that like and subscribe, and don't forget the bell notification. This way you get notified every time I upload a video. Well, today we're continuing on with part 2. That's right, part 2 of stage 2 upgrade on my 2022 CVO Road line. Today we're going to be building up the cam chest, replacing the cam bearing first, then build up the cam chest, put the cam in it. We're going to compare the stock cam to the Cyclorama 480 cam that I selected. We're going to put in the lifters, anti-rotational cuffs, the tappet blocks, the push rod tubes, the push rods, the rocker arms, and the intake manifold. That should be enough for today on this video. And then part 3 will be putting on the header and finishing up the build and getting it done. All right, hopefully you guys made it through that first portion of tearing the bike down. It's a lot of work, a lot of tedious work, and now it even gets more tedious. So here we go. What's the cam bearing? Right here, guys, is your cam bearing. You can see it right there. All right, now they make a tool. This one is from Fuel Moto. I have no affiliation with them. I just like their products and like dealing with them. And I already pre-moved up my tool here, or the threads on it. And let me put this down so I can work two-handed. I want you guys to see what's going on. There you go. All right, so this goes in, and it's supposed to snap right inside that cam bearing. There we go. So we're going to thread this in. Now we have, dropping my nuts. All right, this here. There's 4 of them that hold this plate in. And let's get that done. How's everybody's week been? Hopefully everybody had a good week. I know I have. All right, so what we need to do is get this seated and then tighten up our screws, just like so. Now, I'm missing a piece. Where'd it go? I'm not organized today, guys, sorry. This T-handle goes inside, just like that. And what that does, it spreads the fingers to grab the inside of that cam bearing. So now, you grab an adjustable wrench. I grab an adjustable. All right, and what we're going to do is we're going to tighten this up. Just like so, and that should pull the cam bearing right out. Alrighty. It's a little tight at first, so take your time and do it right. We'll get right back to this. All right, so I got the new bearing on the tool, and that's all set up, and I'll show you that in a little bit. But I'm also going to post a picture up here, and that's the old bearing. I'm going to post a picture up here, and that's the new bearing. This way you get an idea of why you want to upgrade your bearings. And what I'm doing is I'm looking to make sure that that bearing is going to seat properly. I put a little oil around that bearing just to make sure that it goes in nice and easy. And you'll know when it's seated, because the tool's going to bottom out against the block. All right. So here we go. Let the fun begin. Alrighty, let me get this done and then we'll get back at it. Okay, now comes the cam comparison. Let's take a look at the duration, which is how long that valve stays open compared to stock. Let's look at the lift, which is, you know, how quick that valve opens and closes. There is quite the noticeable difference. This is the Cyclorama CR480 cam that I'm putting in. And when you put your cam in, you just don't want to slop it in. You want to put some break-in oil around every polished part here. This way, when the first time you crank it over, it does not it's not dry. And you know, dry creates friction, which creates part failure. And the reason being, you replace the cam bearing or do an upgrade on that, is there's more needle bearings in the upgraded cam bearing than what comes from the factory. So with all that being said, let's try and get a good angle here, get some light on that subject there. There we go. All right, so first things first, you want to clean the brake or the protective coating that's on your cam, and I've already did that. And then you want to coat all the mating surfaces with break-in oil. Again, so you know, when you're doing this, nothing will be dry for the first time. All right, so we got the break-in oil on the cam and on all the mating surfaces except for where the cam plate rides. So I'll do that in a little bit. And there you go. That's the cam. All right, now the mating surface where this cam plate rides, it goes right there. You can never use too much of break-in oil. So if it drips, no big deal. All right, next thing, which we're going to use a lot of break-in oil for, is our oil pump. And S&S gives you a tube of break-in oil with your oil pump and your cam plate. Thank you, S&S. Not affiliated with them at all, I wish. They also give you new bolts and washers to hold your oil pump together once it's in the bike. All right, so they have it zip tied together. We got to break that zip tie. There we go. All right, so part one, see, I always put the oil pump down. You can't see it, I'm off camera, the way it goes in. Now this here is the O-ring that was on the back of the old oil pump, and that's important to put back on because that seals up around the pinion shaft. Then they give you new O-rings for the sealing the oil pump and also at the cam plate, and so we're going to install those. But before we do, we're going to lubricate them. Oops, sorry with the light. A little bit of oil on it. Doesn't have to be break-in oil. So this will ride in here just like that. And once this is seated, you'll hear it go thump. Clean rag. There we go. These are your gears that we want to lubricate as well. We're going to put in before we seat that first part down. So this does get a bit messy, guys. Don't be afraid. If you make a mess, you make a mess. But break-in oil is very important. for your new components to last a lifetime. This will go in. See, it's off just a little. So we'll back this out. There we go. Oh. Sometimes this can be a pain, and sometimes it goes right in. And right now it's starting to be a little bit of a pain. But I'm going to grab something to push. Nope, not going. Let's take a look and find out why. Okay, that looks good there. That looks good there. There we go. It's in. Hey. All right, now we take our separator plate. That'll go here, just like that. And on the oil pump, you'll see there's a scavenger screen that goes in this way, but before we put it in, we have to lubricate the gears with some brake-in oil. Again, don't be afraid to use too much. There's no such thing on all your rotating parts. Alright, so there we go, and that seats in there just like that. And now finally the last part of the oil pump. And why upgrade the oil pump? Everybody says the new oil pumps are great, you know, you don't have to worry about them. Well, I sit there and go, you know what? There's no such thing as too much oil. Well, there is, but this increases your oil pressure, which increases oil flow, which helps cool the motor, and cooling is what you want. You want things to run cool. So let's put this in. Like I said, put all that brake-in oil in there. You can see how messy all this is. All right, now I'm going to take some of this brake-in oil, put this on this O-ring that goes here. Just like that. Doesn't that look so much better, guys? And now comes the cam plate. Again, they give you another tube of brake-in oil. They give you more O-rings, which I'm not going to need because I already have them. But on the cam plate, where the camshaft rides here, I'm going to put some brake-in oil there, inside this bushing, and also in where the oil pump cavity is. Not being afraid to put too much in there, because I believe there's no such thing as too much brake-in oil. There could be too much oil, but not too much brake-in oil when putting these things together. Alright, so as you can see, all the brake-in oil that's in there, this goes on here just so like this. There we go, and that comes out just like that. There is a spacer that goes here, guys. That's a washer. It's important to put there because that will line the gears up for your cam gear and your pinion shaft gear. All right. So let me get this ready to go, clean up a little bit down here, and we will go over how to center your oil pump. And if you don't center your oil pump, you could run into a lot of problems, and nobody wants problems. All right, guys, what I did is I started all the screws to not tight, especially the oil pump. I mean, just to prove it to you. See how everything here for the oil pump is loose. But what we're going to do is snug up the cam plate and go into the torque. That's always important. Now that it's in torque sequence, we're still going to leave the oil pump loose. I got to jack up the back tire, and once that's jacked up, I'm going to put it in 6th gear and rotate the engine around 2 or 3 times to help center the pump. And then once the pump is centered, we're going to torque it down and then spin it around again and make sure that nothing is binding. So let's get all that done and get prepared, and we'll do it. Alright guys, I got it jacked up, 6th gear. Now I'm going to rotate this around. Alright, so I'm going to start there. That's where I know the flat is facing the back of the bike. So you could hear all the air escaping and everything. So there's 1, 2, I'm going to go around again. 3. So now we know that the pump is centered. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tighten these up. Okay, so the cam plate and oil pump torques are the same, 90 to 120 inch-pounds. So I go to 105, which is in the middle of the range. I already thread lock and torque the oil pump. Now let's do the cam plate together. So 1, gonna follow the sequence. Okay, I'm gonna go around one more time just for good measure. And we'll go around and do the oil pump one more time for good measure. Okay, that's all torqued up. That's happy-go-lucky. Now we get to set our mechanical timing. And what is that? That's a very good question. We have to match up our timing marks on our camshaft which will be, let's see, where is it? Let's get a little light on this subject there. All right, so right there you can see there's a timing mark, a little indentation, and here's the other indentation right there. So that is a properly aligned timing mark. See that? So now the fun is to take our chain, and we've got to back everything off and do it all together and make sure everybody's happy. See, that rotated just a little bit, so we will and we're off. So this could be quite tedious, being off a tooth. And there you go. As you can see, with our chain on in tension, our timing marks are lined up. And that's the important part. Now we have to do our bolts here for the camshaft and for the pinion shaft. And I do have to clean these up. There's some thread locker on here. The pinion shaft gets red thread locker, and no thread locker on the cam bolt. So let me clean these up and get them installed, and I'll let you know what the torques are. All right, everybody. So here we go. Our camshaft sprocket screw. First torque is 15 foot-pounds. Then check your torque and alignment at 15 foot-pounds, and then your final torque is 34 foot-pounds for here. Your crankshaft sprocket screw, which is right here, that's 15 foot-pounds, your first torque, and then your final torque is 24 foot-pounds. All right, now we got to go on to the cam chain tensioners, which is right here, which that is 90 to 120 inch-pounds. Difference between foot-pounds and inch-pounds, we all know. So let's get this thing installed, torqued up, and ready to roll, because you know, I like the assembly part of this. Disassembly, not so much fun, but yeah, you have to get there to do it and get it done. So there we go. Working on getting the screws out of the baggie. These will get some blue thread locker. I'm going to show you a trick that I do that helps line everything up. And so a little blue thread locker right there. And I start that by hand. I don't run it all the way in, but most of the way. Then I will take my other screw, put a little thread locker on there, and I rotate this and line up the holes, and I thread it in. All right, so I'm just going to run them with the gun, and then I'm going to torque them. All right, there's that. Now, torque time. I already got the torque wrench set to 105 inch-pounds. And guys, inside of your cam chest, when you're rotating parts or anywhere, you really want to follow the manufacturer's torque specs, because you don't want this stuff backing out, causing havoc for you. All right, that's that. Cam chest is done. Now we got to do the lifters. And I've been bathing my lifters in oil for the past 48 hours, you want to say? So they've been bathing. I would love to get one of those pressure lifter, when you pressurize, you put your lifters in a tank full of oil and you hit it with pressure or vacuum, and it all comes out nice and clean. Now, these are the night crawlers, and for the front cylinder, they want the logo to face to the back for the front cylinder. So these are printed with a logo on them, so you want them facing towards the back. All right, that's one. That's two. All right, and they want the back one, rear cylinder, have the logos face forward. Okay. one. Logo facing forward. That's two. All right, so now that I'm done with that jug, I can put that away, get out of the way because I don't want to spill any oil. Now we go into our Tampa Cups from S&S, and these are marked both front and rear. They give you all new bolts and everything. It's awesome. Okay, this one's got an R on it right there. So that goes onto the rear. And then this one goes onto the front. Just like that. They give you all new bolts, which is awesome, and new gaskets, which is even better. Here we go. And there's no thread locker on here, guys. But there's a reason why I do things. And I will be putting thread locker on there, even though S&S did not provide it with thread locker. So here you go. So here are our Tampa Cups. And what you want to look for is when they rotate. It's hard to do with one-handed, guys. You want them to drop under their own weight. All right, see how that one came up? And that one's not dropping. You got to push it down. All right, that tells me a lot. Like it's too tight in the lifter bore. And what I'm just doing is just lining up my timing marks. Even though it's not that critical now, I just like to do it, and this way it's done. All right, I'm gonna look up the torque for these, which is in the book. And which is right over here. Let's see. That's our oil pump. That's crankcase. All right, let me find it. We'll get back to it. All right, guys, got a little carried away here. All right, so the anti-rotational cuffs get torqued to 144 inch-pounds, and the tappet cover bolts, the 4 of them, they get torqued to 105 inch-pounds. Just like all the other screws. Hold on, nope. I'm sorry, I had that backwards. My mistake. These are 144 inch-pounds, and these are and the anti-rotational cuffs are 120 inch-pounds. But you can see the direction that I'm going here with the colors. These will be green as well, and then the tops will be black, and the air cleaner is going to be black. But I think that's looking really good. What do you guys think? You tell me. I think it looks really good. I am going to be replacing these and putting the top back together and the intake together off this camera. Okay, finished up the back head. I think it looks great. What do you guys think? Now we're going to finish up the front head. I got the rocker arms in, and now we got the bolts snug up. So now we've got to torque them. There's 25 foot-pounds right here. And one of the things you want to watch when you're using a dog bone on a torque wrench, guys, sorry about that, is you want to be 90 degrees off on your torque wrench. This way you don't have to do the math or anything to get to it. So going to bring them as close as we can, and then once all four are torqued, then we will, oh, that's one. I'm going to go around and check them again once we do the other side. Like I said, they're all snugged. It's not like, that's two. I'll go around the other side. And let me swing this around, make sure 90 degrees. And here we go. That's three, and now number four. Okay, so let's just double check it all the way around. One. A little off. There we go. Two. We'll go back around the other side. I'm liking this green. What do you guys think of the green? Right around the same thing I did on Spaceball. But I did the gold. Alright, so it's 25 foot-pounds. And that's done for the rocker arms. Now we got to do the crankcase breather, which is right here. And that goes in here just like that. And this is a 3/16 nut, or Allen I should say, or hex wrench, whatever you guys want to call it. I call them Allens because that's how I know them as. And there it is. And the torque I go on this is good and tight. There is a torque value to it, but let's be realistic. You really don't need to torque it down all the way or to the 120 inch-pounds. You could guesstimate that on your own. This is not a critical part. I do have to clean up all the screws for the upper rocker box here for this one. Alright, that's that. Now we have a nice brand new gasket from Cometic. I always can't pronounce it right. But I like their gaskets. They always work well. And they've never let me down. Alright, let me clean up all the thread lacquer on these bolts and put some fresh ones on there. And they get torqued to 25 foot-pounds. Oh boy, was I wrong. It's 130 inch-pounds, guys. So, we're torquing things out there, just so you know. Sorry, I gave out the wrong torque specs a second ago. I'll try and edit that out, but it is 130 inch-pounds. I'm going into torque sequence that Harley recommends in their the manual. So you guys can see what that torque sequence is. And we're all torqued up. And this last one. Oh, this last one is going to, there we go. Now I'm just going to go around just for prosperity. And going around the last time, I am not going in the torque sequence because they're already torqued. I'm just doing what you call a torque check. Just want to make sure everything is where it needs to be. Make sure that when this settled down, it didn't settle down unevenly. And then I have some loosened bolts, and I don't want loose bolts. All right, guys, we're coming to the end of this project. What's left? Well, I got the oil cooler manifold tube. I have, once that's in, so I have the intake manifold to do. I have all the electrical to connect, which is the compression relief valves, the knock sensors, the fuel injectors, the throttle actuator, the front motor mount, the horn, the exhaust, the mufflers, the bags, and then the tune. Oh, and also a variable rate pressure plate. Alright guys, that'll end it for this video. Stay tuned next week where we do the intake manifold and the oil cooler manifolds and everything else. Alright everybody, until the next one, you live the best life you can. Ride often and ride hard.
Like and subscribe.